Hello everybody. Today I'm going to talk about some of the batteries that I've had from over the years with my Makita tools, because I know that there's always a brand discussion when it comes down to it at the end of the day of who's best, who's better, who can you rely on for long-term battery usage. Now, I've had some of these batteries here for close to 20 years. These with the blue line that runs across behind the 18 volt or turquoise, were actually the original 18 volts that were manufactured by Makita. Back when they were first releasing the 18 volt line, these were some of the original ones that came out of Mexico. And what's special about these is that everything is obviously made in China nowadays, but with these, they were notorious for being the best of the 18 volt family that came out of Makita, as these batteries would likely never die. And truth to it is, I've had these for 18 years. I've left them out for a few years, never charged them. I've come back and charged them. I've overrun them. I've overheated them. I've done everything brutal to them. I've left them out in sunlight. I've run them hard. I've done everything that you could possibly imagine. Dropped them in water, left them out in sun. They've been rained on. They've been stuck inside my case through extremely cold winters for at least the local area, where it would get down to -10 plus. And overall, the battery itself is done very well. Compared to these, which are, I believe, 18 years now, this is about 13 years old for this battery pack. I've always tried to keep it with these batteries, so that way I always knew what the rough age of the battery pack was. And then this battery pack I picked up probably within about the last 4 years. So I wanted to show a comparison now that I own the BTC04 battery tester, which I think is one of the very few battery testers available on the market for Makita, and their 18 volt line. I don't think that this works with any of the other compatible lines, but overall it works for the 18 volts, including the newer 5 amp and 6 amp batteries and whatever else lines that they might have pumped out for the 18 volts. So starting off, I'm going to show a couple of these older 18 volts and what they're capable of in comparison. Now, this tester doesn't have a plug-in for it. It's only battery powered, so it's quite straightforward. Now, it'll be hard to see on the video here, but that's showing 192 cycles that I've charged this battery. And I can tell you right now, it's definitely been a lot more than that, as I probably did 192 in just a few months when I first got this pack. So overall, before I bought another pack, it was about 8 to 10 years for a different Makita set. So I ran these pretty hard. These 2 and then eventually 3 batteries were used relentlessly during that time to do all sorts of work. And this is showing 192. This is showing roughly what the battery state is, which is roughly about 60% max capacity on the battery cell after 18 years. And it's showing that it's overcharged, and most of the cells are not showing proper information back. That might be programming issues in the original batteries. It might also be that just that this battery pack has honestly been worked pretty hard. Now, overall, it still works. It definitely only works about as half as well as my newest batteries that I own from Makita, compared to the 3 amp hour lines that I have bought over the last few years, which I've switched mainly up to 4s or 5s now. So this one is showing 184 for charge cycles. I've obviously done a pretty good job of changing out my batteries on a pretty standard rate. And then this one is showing a max capacity of 50%. So overall, it is also showing a 19.4 volt, so it's overvolting, which is pretty standard with an older battery pack that's trying to keep up. So pretty much wise, out of these original battery packs, I'll easily get 20 plus years out of them. I know I've got another couple more years. I'm not going to be using them past the point when they go well below 50 down to 40. And obviously, if you're running on a larger site and you don't really have access to a charger when you're up high or in a difficult spot, you're not going to want to hold on to these older batteries as long. But for me, because this is an older pack and one of the first packs, it's a little sentimental for something that I bought back in a long time ago. Now, with this other pack right here, this one is about probably close to about 10 years, maybe a little bit older, as it was an additional battery that I needed. Once I noticed that these were starting to show a little bit of age, I wanted a newer one so that way I could rely on it between the charge cycles for these ones. So this one, it's showing a charge rate of 132 cycles, and it's the last time I charged this battery, I know it's been close to about 6 months, so it's actually held its charge quite well. The same with all of these batteries here. I haven't used them that much recently, so probably close to about 6 months was the last time that all of my batteries were all charged together at the same time to make sure that they were all working and up to snuff, and when I got this actual testing kit. Now this battery, which is about 8 years newer than those other ones, almost 20 years old, this is showing a max percentile of 45%. So a lot of the things that people said about the Mexican batteries for the Makitas is probably quite honestly true. As well, this is showing an overvolt at 19.5 volts, and it's also showing the cell health right here across the board as still being quite decent for what it is for maintaining its volts on each one of the cells. It's also not showing any major issues on the battery itself, but it's pretty much standard. So overall, it's saying 132 times I've cycled this battery. I've definitely done a lot more than that, but not nearly as much as those original ones from Mexico. Now, this newest battery, again, it's only about 4, maybe 5 years old. It's showing 112. I have used this battery since with my newest Makita impact driver, and it is showing decent health on what's remaining from the last charge. I've used this battery a bunch, even ran it on one of the mobile vacuums that I've got from Makita. And overall, the health rate is showing that it's okay. I might be reading it incorrectly where it's showing a charge rate or maybe degradation rate, so those might be closer to about 60%. And this might be closer to 45% if I did read it wrong. And then this is showing an undervolt at 17.4, and it's showing that all the volts for those cells are pretty much in line with how much juice there is actually within the battery right now. So this battery is running fairly well even after 5 years. 112 charges is probably accurate, as within the pack that this battery cell's been running with, there's about 5 other batteries that I interchange between, so it is a lot easier for that number to stay lower on all of these batteries. And it's showing that the health after about 5, maybe 4 or 5 years, that this battery has actually held its health quite well after regular use and also being left outside in the cold, being run in all sorts of different conditions, and right up to the end of its cell life. So when this battery was completely dry, I'd run it all the way down most of the times, like most of these batteries, and then charge them all the way up. Not necessarily what you need to do with the newer batteries, but I hope that helps you out when it comes down to understanding your batteries. And if you are looking for this cool tool, this only comes from Japanese vendors as well. This is the BTC04. Typically, if you go to a Makita repair station, they'll have something similar or like this. It's quite decent to get them tested, and I believe that they do it for free as well still. Oh, as one little extra tidbit for all of you, these cases used to be what our impact drivers used to come like. They used to come in either cases with a clear cover like this for all your bits, extra screws, or anything else to stay in, and also give you a great spot for your charger and all your batteries to sit in. So if any of the manufacturers are actually paying attention, bring these back, because these are 1,000 times better than throwing it into a bag and looking for all your stuff at the end of the day. Hopefully they're listening.